again, I know that at first glance it gets a little challenging, or it seems to be very challenging for us because again, there's new information, right? So again, I like to just encourage you to just understand that this is nothing but a puzzle. And all we're going to do is give you the pieces to the puzzle. And then when you start familiarizing yourself with the pieces of the puzzle, you put everything together, you'll like completely understand how how it's working, right? So let me see right here. Pull this up right quick. Okay. Share. I'm going to send this to you guys. All right, there we go. All right, so here we have lesson number 4. Okay. I'm going to send, of course, this to you guys. There's our vocabulary words. You should be up at 53 vocabulary words by now off the lessons that I've sent you. If you don't have lessons 1, 2, or 3, please let me know and I can send it to you. Okay. So the first one is lashon, dealing with the tongue, language. Ozain, okay, or excuse me, ozain has to do with the ear. Ayin, which is the eye, the lave, which is the heart, or it could be called lavava or lavev. The head is rosh, number 46. 47 is regel, okay. 48 is yad. Let me see. 49 is a mountain. And the way that you say mountain is har. Har. Okay. Ah. Har. Har. What I do, you guys, I just look at these letters and I just, in my mind, I remember that's a H, that's a ah, and there's a R. So har. That's how you say it, har. In my mind, that's a Y, that's a ah, right? That's an ah sound. And then we got the D. So it's yad. Okay. We got Torah. 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 A nation is okay. Is this how they write it in Hebrew? Is this how when we used to read it, it'll look like this? No, this is a transliteration. All I'm doing is taking the first letter, which is this here, or it's actually silent, and then it's ah here. There it is, ah. And then the M, the final M. There you go. So I'm just so we can understand it in our language, the English language. Then we have the one called number 52 called Yaled. That's a Y. There's a EH, yeah. And then we got LED, LEHD, Yaled. Okay. And then the last one is called a Pa Thak. Pathak. Okay. Pathak means to be open. Okay. But also too, they got a vowel point called a pathak, and a pathak is this. So there's all these different little rules and different symbols. And so what we're doing is we're understanding the pieces, you know, the lamed, the shin, the wa, and how the wa is being used. Okay. Lashon, you know, final noon. Here's a wa right here with the wa with the O on the top. There's a wa with the O on the top. There's a Z right here and the N on the end. The final noon, ozain. Okay, so now we're finding out how do you say, you know, tongue, and how do you say ear, and how do you say eye and your heart and all these different things, and the head and the foot. So basically body parts, you know, and the Torah and a nation and all these different things. So Yaled, a boy, a Yaled, a lad, okay, which is a boy, a lad, and then Pathak, he opened. But where's the he at? Well, the he is implied because it's perfect, because this is a verb, because that's an action he's doing. Well, why is they calling it a heart when there's no letter A in the Hebrew language? That's one of our rules, because it's implied. You couldn't just say heart, you have to say a heart. If you wanted to be more definite, you would call it the heart. And if it was a the, it would put a letter hey on the front of it. Or it would have a direct object marker like a aleph and a tav. Or it would just, be either a hey or this direct object marker to let you know exactly which heart I'm talking about. Okay. All right. So the rule that we're going to be dealing with today is rule number 10. And there's several rules. Okay. And each one of the lessons at the end, it gives you a summary of all the rules. Okay. But rule number 10 is talking about noun endings. Okay. Nouns consist of how many letters? Three or more. Okay. Verbs are three. Nouns are three or more, because there's some nouns that they have more than three letters. Okay. So a lot of the nouns that you're going to see, and there are some with two, like a mother or a father, or, if you see these nouns that we have up here, a foot or a hand, or your nose, or your eyes. So there's several ones would have different amount of letters in them. Okay. Right there is lashon. That's your tongue. There's four. Ozen, 4. 44. There's three. Lay, 2. Right? Rosh, 3. That's your head. Regale, 3. Yad, 2. Har, 2. Okay. So it could be customly, there's a lot, just 3 of them, but it could be 2. It could be a father. It could be a mother. It could be a hand. It could be a mountain. But it also could be something more than 3. It could be 4. It could even be 5. Okay. So in any noun, regardless to what it is, whether it's 2, 3, 4, or 5, the endings are what you're going to be adding. The noun endings are going to be added to the end of these words, right here. It's going to be on the end of all these nouns. So everything we're going to be talking about today is just rule number 10 about noun endings. Okay, and they have several. Okay, so let's take a look at the noun horse. Does anybody know how to say horse?
Seuss.
Seuss. So
And
we'll go
Susa.
right. Yes. So there's a couple of different ways that we deal with a horse in a noun. It could be my horse. It could be, that belongs to me. It could be your horse, or it could be our horse. Okay. So your tells us that the horse belongs to you, and ours is it belongs to us, and so forth and so on. And my means it belongs to me. So this has to do with a possessive, right? So these endings will tell you, who does the horse belong to? Is it my horse, your horse, or our horse? Okay. And so in the Hebrew, instead of adding a word in front of a noun, as in English, we simply add a letter or letters onto the end of the noun. That's why we're calling it noun endings. Okay. So here's an example. My horse. You take the word horse, which is sus, and this can be any noun. Sus. And you want to say it's my horse. I'm going to blow it up a little bit more so you can see it. Okay. So as you see horse, and then you got my. So what do? You're going to add this, meaning my, that's my ending, to the noun sus. And then you're going to have su, si, su, si, because that dot and that equals this sound, the I as in it, it. Okay. So it's sus, su, excuse me, su, si. Okay. That's my su, si. Okay. So here's sus, and this is it. So it means my. Okay. Easy enough. So anytime you see a yod with this little dot, it means my. That's just the ending. And don't worry, you're just going to get used to it. Okay. Now, if it says your horse, On the end of this noun, you're going to have what you have, which is a final cough. Okay. And it's called sus. Su-sa-ka. Not sus-ka. Susaka. Why am I saying that? Do you know, Kel?
I was trying to figure that out. Is it? I know that like the two dots they make a EH sound,
Yeah.
so you have to suseka. You have to.
Yeah. So su-sa-ka. Okay. Susaka. If you notice what they're doing is they're taking the little vowel, the little dot, and they're sticking it under that last letter. So they're just transferring the dot under here and then put the yo right here. It's a puzzle. So just moving this into the position right here. So you see right here, there's nothing. There's no dot underneath it, nothing. So what you do is you just add that underneath there. Okay. And the susaka, it is the su and the sa ka. Okay. Susaka. Susaka. Okay. And if you notice, it's going to be a consonant, vowel, consonant, vowel, consonant, vowel. So in Hebrew, it's always going to be consonant, vowel, consonant, consonant, vowel, consonant, vowel. Okay. It could be consonant, vowel, consonant, vowel, consonant. Okay. And then it goes to this one, consonant, vowel, consonant, vowel. But you would never begin, this is just a rule, you'll never have a word begin with a vowel. Never. In the Hebrew language, no words will ever begin with a vowel. Like oo, ah, e, ah, none of that. It's always going to be a consonant, right? So susaka, okay? Someone wants to take a guess on how do you say our horse? This is an interactive class.
Is it suseno?
Yes, and here you're very close. So you said susano. No would be a dot on the top. There's a dot on the
Oh,
side.
susenu.
Yeah. So it's su say nu. Susenu. Susay. Okay. Here's the a nu, and here's the sus. So what you do is you take these two dots and you stick them directly underneath right here, and they give you susenu. Susenu. Okay. So what I want you to know is all you got to do is add these little endings to whatever noun you have, and it tells you who you're talking to. Now, are you going to memorize this all the time? Nah, you're not. What's going to happen is when you're starting to read the Hebrew, when you see the dot, the one dot with the yod, you know what that means, mine. When you see the final cough with that little thing right here, you know, let me put it right here. You see this, you know that it means you. When you see that it's new on the end, okay, it'll let you know it's talking about our. So these are the endings that you get every time you put on the end of a noun. So again, you can see that it's a puzzle. That's all this is. And once you know the pieces of the puzzle, then you'll understand what it's saying and who's it saying to. Okay. So you know what my horse is, you know what your horse is, you know what any of that, but it doesn't have to just be the horse. It could be something else. Okay. I'm going to send this to you. So here's the full list of the endings that could be added. Okay. And their meanings. And, you know, we'll give you some more examples as how they're used. So the ending table is my, which is, and these are sounds. So what I want you to do is when I send this to you, I want you to take the time and I want you to remember how these sounds go. So you can see the importance of knowing the sounds. So this dot right here equals the I, as in it. This is the sound you're talking about, I, not I, I. Okay. This one here is ka. Okay. This one here is ka. Okay, so there's two dots, and this one has this underneath it, or on the side of it, and this one has this one. So you ask her, what's the difference? Well, the difference is when you're talking about something that's yours that belongs to a male, you're gonna go, like I'm your brother, right? So I go, my name is Aki. Okay, so that's my brother, right? And then I go Aki, and then I go Ka. That's why I call myself Akika. I'm your brother. That's what I am, Akika. Because you're talking about me, it has to be Ka. If it's a female, it's not Akika, okay? And it wouldn't be it wouldn't be Aka. It wouldn't be Aka. It would not be that, because a sister is different. She's a cult sister, a culti, my sister. A cultica would be a male sister, okay? If it's a female sister, it'd just be a culti, okay? Or a cult, a cultic, yeah, a cultic, okay? So there's different sounds, guys, as you can see. So masculine and then feminine, they have different sounds. Same letters, final cough, that's a final, and that's a final, okay? This right here is just a straight up k, like you just making a k sound. Like for K sound, it's just k, 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 like in kite. With a male is ka, 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 female k, 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 k. Okay, and we're gonna see some examples of this. When we're talking about when you see something on the end called an O like this, okay, like today, our Torah portion dealt with the word called he says, what's my Shemo? Look at I put an I, look at me. I'm using a, if I say Shemo, that O right there is represented by that Wa. So it'll be like this, Sh, oh, Min, Yod. That's his name. That means it's his name or its name, masculine singular. You talk about Yisrael, it'll be, Mashemo. Remember, Moshe asked, he says, if they ask you, what is your name? What is his name? He says, they say Mashemo. Then you would tell them, my name is Yohe Wahe. Okay, or Eye Esher, which I am and I will be who I will be that sent you. Okay, so Shemo is his name. So every time you see the O on the end of something, it represents something that's masculine. That's masculine. And if you notice, you keep seeing masculine, feminine, because those are the only two genders that you're ever going to see in both humans and animals and plants. Do you know there's male and female plants? Did you know there's male and female trees? Did you know that?
Nope.
Yes, there's male and female trees. Yes. Some have to be pollinated, you know what I'm saying? So look that up. There's both male and female. Okay. And a lot of times we don't know that. We think the genders for us is just in humanity. It's in animals, it's in plants, it's in a lot of different things. Okay. If you think about, masculinity, when you think about the earth, right? She's called what? She's called Ada, what? Adama. That A on the end makes her feminine. When you have the word Aretz, it deals with the land, that's feminine. You see? When you have water, that is what? Mayim. It has a masculine ending. It's masculine. You understand? So Yah uses masculinity and femininity through everything. So there's a lot of verbs that they're masculine. There's verbs that are feminine, just like male and female. Okay, both people and animals and everything. So the O on the anything of a noun means his. So here it is. I'll just write out there. Seuss is what? A horse. So I just said, when I just said Suso, what did I say?
His horse.
His horse. So you can see I can write it in English and transliterate it into English. So if you saw this and you heard the word Suso, you saw this, you read it, you go Susos. Oh, I know what a Sus is. A Sus is a horse. I said Suso. That's his horse. If I say Susa, what is that?
Her horse.
Close, but no cigar. The reason why it's, well, it's true. I got to correct. There's a difference I'm about to show you. So remember, there's a masculine horse, which is a Sus. The Susa is a female horse. This is a masculine horse. Okay. So both nouns can, horse can come, it can come a male or a female. So a Susa, she can be written with a Sus like this, and then another this, and then she would have a hey on the end with a ah underneath like that, right? That's a female horse. But there's something different about this particular Susa. This Susa right here has something inside of it. It has a dot. So you was, if it, because it has a dot, it's letting you know it's her horse. There's a difference between a female horse, okay, and a her horse. Okay. See? So her horse can be male or female. A female horse is a female horse. You see? So this her right here, which is over here, she owns that, which remember we started this off with she would belongs. So anything that belongs to a female on the end of a word will have a dot inside of there to let you know that that's possessive. I'm talking about her horse. And that horse can be male or female. Let me give you an example. Hopefully I'm not overstepping my bounds. Okay. So Sus is masculine. Okay. Sus sa without the dot in it is a female horse. Okay, so masculine, feminine. Now, if I told you that this is her horse, that horse could be either this one or this one. And the text would tell you whether it's not, okay? But you got to figure out who does the horse belong to. So the her here is a third person. Feminine singular. It's her horse. She owns it. So if I was to put a dot right here, it would say her horse. You see? And then it gets a little confusing sometimes because you don't know, is the horse masculine or is the horse feminine? But the text will tell you if it's masculine or feminine. Okay. Because generally when you have a female noun, you're going to have a female ending. So I don't want to get you guys too confused, but I want to let you know in our first lesson, the does tell you, excuse me, look at me writing in English. The on the end of the word tells you that this is feminine. This here tells you it's feminine, but it tells you that it belongs to her. That's the difference. So if it has a dot in it, like you see this one, that means that she owns that. That's her horse. And then you have to figure out if the horse is masculine or feminine, and the text will tell you that, okay? Just wanted to let you know. So what we're talking about is things that are possessive. So it belongs, that's mine. That's my horse. That's your horse. That's your that's your horse. You're a female. It's you I'm talking to. It's his horse, third party. Okay. So you got first person, you got second person, and you got third persons. Okay. New right here is our, which is first person common plural. This is singular. Common singular. Okay. This is second person masculine singular right here. See? So it's always going to be first person, second person, third person. Once you learn who the first person, second person, third person is, when you see it, you would automatically know. And that's where the practice comes in. So some things you're going to see with the cough on here, okay, like this, and you should know when I see this in particular letter, this final cough on the end of a word, is going to tell me something. It's going to tell me that I'm dealing with the noun. Okay. And the verbs, you got a tav on the end. Remember T? Remember that? Shamar T, do you remember that? Or Shamar Ta, do you remember it's a T and there's a Ta, right? Remember that? You got the Ta, right? You got the regular tav with the 2 dots underneath it, remember? So the verbs get the tavs and the nouns get the coughs. Okay, so the more we start reading, you'll see, and I'll keep bringing it up to you, okay? And if you see right there, where's it at? The Kim, make sure you ask questions. Here, the Kim right here is the same as this one that you got up there for you. It's still talking about your, but now it's plural. That's why they call it Kim. It'd be K-E-H-M, Kim. Okay, but the form is not the final. It's just this one. But this and this one and this one are exactly the same pronunciation. This one is made this way because it's on the end of a word. It looks like this when it's in the middle of a word or at the beginning of a word. That's just the way it goes. Okay, so not all words, not all letters have the finals. There's only a few letters that have a final. You can look in your book, your blue book that I gave you. It tells you which ones are the finals and which ones are not. Who has the finals and who doesn't. So we know that this one here is talking about you again because it's a cough. It's a cough. It's yours. Why? Because the cough represents the palm. It's yours. The yod represents the hand. This is why they're using these letters. Is because my is dealing with my, for me, my hand. When the cough means it's something in your hand. Okay. So this is the reason why they're using these letters in terms of ownership and what belongs to you, because the yod means hand, something you can grasp for you that belongs to you. When I'm talking about you, I'm talking about the cough, what's in your palm of your hand. That's yours. Okay. So your in the text can either be your singular or your plural, but also too, you're always going to have this gender, which is male or female. You're always going to have person, which will be first person, second person, or third person. Okay. And PGN number, excuse me. Number was first person, second person, third person, forgive me, 2 and 3. Okay, it's either first person, second person, or third person. And so you got gender, you got number, and what else do we have? Person. The person is what? Singular or what? Plural. How many persons? Is it 1 person, 2 people, 3 people, 10 people? Who are you talking to? And so in the person, you'll know what it is by first person, second person, third person. You'll know if it's a male or female. So you're always going to have gender, you're always going to have number, and you're always going to have person. You're always going to have it. And no matter what the order is, you can put it person, gender, number, PGN. So you make up a little acronym in your mind, you know, or PNG, whatever way you want to say it. So you can remember person, number, gender. That's always going to be part of the conversation anytime you're dealing with a noun or a verb. So this is what this is what's going to tell you who's talking, how many people are there, and they're male and female. You got to know that. That's why we're talking about grammar. That's why he says right here, please learn this table well. So I'm going to send this table to you, okay? You're going to get this. Right here, when you see this on the end of a word, then you know, well, if it has a mem, which is a final mem, so because it's on the end, and this is a final, it's 2 of the letters. This one here is a mem. This one's an N, none. That's a none sound, okay? Noon, none, noon, okay? So mem and a noon. But you notice they say on or on, okay? And that means third person, because these are third person, okay? Plural. And this is masculine. And this is a third person. We're talking about third person plural. And we know that's feminine. So in this list, you'll be able to see who's masculine, who's feminine. You'll see that both masculine and femininity can say yours. There's no imbalance here. But you also notice that every time you talk about a male, and it's easy to remember, it's a mem on the end. It tells you your masculinity. The female is the following letter, which is a noun. She's the one who's after the mem. So the mem comes first, then the noun. So when you see a mem on the end, oh, that's masculine. You see a noun on the end, oh, that's feminine. You see? If you see a cough, then you know, oh, that's your. But it's not a final cough. If it's final, then you say, oh, that belongs to one person. That's singular. That's not plural. That's singular. Oh, when I see a cough with this right here, oh, that's masculine. When I see the cough here and has these two dots, that's feminine. Okay. So you can make this the male and you can make this the female. You understand? And it's easy to remember. Just use your imagination. Okay. Use your imagination. Use your imagination. And that's the reason why they're using that. Okay. Easy to remember. All right. So you got to remember it well. Here's some examples of the different nouns that you can use. My son, your horse, your foot, and they're giving you different examples of the son and the horse for your masculine at the top. And they're telling you how it's supposed to be done. Okay. So just looking at my son right quick. The word son by itself, if you want to make, it's called bane. And it's usually written out in B-E-N, bane. Okay. And then they call it baney. Okay. So all it was put a little dot right there. Now will be, so if you saw it translated, that'll be my son. Okay. Right. Bene. Bene. Okay. The my, again, it'll never change. This is what it's always going to be. So to say my son, what they do is they change these vowel points underneath and they switch them around. Okay. And they get rid of this one. They take this out and they switch it to this. There's a reason for that, but I can't tell you that right now because it's too far in there. It'll confuse you. Just understand when you see, all I want you to focus on is this. Don't worry about, well, why did it look like this and turn to that? Don't think about that. That's not what we're here for. All I want you to remember is this. You know, when you see the bane, like we did in our study today, that's the sun. And we know what that means to build. Then you see, he's my building. You know what I'm saying? So you just look at these and say, oh, that's the ending. So anytime you say the B and the N, the bet and the noon, and you see a yod on the end, you say, oh, that's mine. So that's why when I tell you guys, when you see a yod on the end of a word, I can easily tell you that it's mine because I know what that symbol is. I know what this is. Okay. And you're going to remember it. Don't worry. It's just more pieces to the puzzle. When we talk about a masculine singular, horse is a sus, but I want it to be yours. Right? It's not suska, it's susaka. It's susaka. The susaka. Ka. What makes this cough masculine? Somebody tell me.
It's the vowel, the T vowel.
Yep, the T vowel. Okay. That's the T. Yes. Okay. That's the T. All right, good. So that's how all you're doing is just putting a piece to the puzzle. That's just a piece. So now once you know what this piece is, and you know what, the yod, that piece is, you're just adding pieces to your puzzle. You've never seen them before. That's why I don't want you to be hard, because all it is just puzzles. Okay. Here it is right here. Here's your foot for a female. Ragel is a foot for everybody, right? But I'm talking about something that belongs to you, right? So a foot, if you want to tell somebody, Ragel, that means a foot. Reg, R sound, here, that's those three dots. And then you got G right here, gel. And then you got the three dots, again. And the final's L, lament. So it's regel. So that's how you say it, regel. Regel is a foot. But who does the foot belong to? it belongs to it's feminine, a woman, female. So how would I say, I put that end on the puzzle. So how would I say your foot when I'm talking to a woman?
Is it Regelka?
So here you go. This is a short vowel, so it's rog, and then lay. That's it. Rog lake. That's how you say that. Rog lake. Okay. Don't worry about what you don't know about this stuff and why they change it and all that kind of. If you notice, that's where everything is getting confusing. Okay. Remember the rule that we have. If it's a short vowel right here, then you say these two letters together. If it's not a short vowel, and say this was right here, like this, a long ah sound. That's still ah, but it's a little bit longer. It's a long ah. The reason why it's longer is because the short is short and this is long. Anytime you see that extra little stem underneath, it means it's long. You see this without it, it's a short ah. And then you see one that goes like this with two dots, it's reduced. So one is like a quick, like ah, the other one is ah, the other one's ah. It's a matter of how long you hold the sound. So because I have to hold the sound longer here, I have to sound the next one out, which would be these two dots right here is when you have to vocalize it. So it's raga lake versus rog lake. See, I want you to say it slower again. Raga lake, raga lake, raga lake, right? But it's not, that's not how I sounded because it's a short vowel. It's not a long vowel. It's not a long ah. It's not an extra long. It's a short one that you have right here by itself. So it's rog lake. See how short that is? One is raga lake. One is rog lake. Because it's short, I can say it together. If it's long, I got to give it its own sound with this in particular consonant. So that's a consonant, that's a vowel. If it's a long vowel, I have to say it long. Rag, ra, galake, ragalake, ragalake. But that's not what it is. It's roglake because it's a short ah sound. So it's rog, roglake. I don't sound this. I don't sound that. I just go roglake, roglake. See? Because these two dots right here, they're called a schwa, and it's a sound. And anytime you make it, it has to be quick. It's not a It's real quick. It's real quick. Real quick. You don't make long. So when we say the at the end, it's so fast that you can never hear it. So it's not take your time and go It's not it's k together. K. And this is ka. That's ka. You got to say that longer because it's a longer sound. Ka. Alecha. Alek. You hear that in there? You can barely hear it. It's already there when you make the K sound. Okay. So that's how you say for a female, your foot just dealing with a female singular. Okay. Here it is. It's his mother. Mother is ain. So how do you say the mother?
Amo.
Thank you. Like in the word it or the word bit. This is what you're making, the sound. So the aleph is silent. You don't make that. There's nothing to say. This is you go directly right here and you say and then you got a mem with a dot in it, lets you know there's two of them. M, and then there's another M. Mo. Imo. But I thought his mother was named Ain. It is. But once you put this O on it, it changes these vowels. That's why I don't want you to worry about it. All I want you to know is when you see the Ain and then you put the O on it, the O is his. That's what the lesson's about, is to let you know, not about the sounds. That's a whole nother study. What I'm trying to tell you is the endings that go on. So if you know this, you know these two letters is mother, then you know as soon as that is, oh, it's his mother. You'll be able to get it real quick. Okay. So the his right here is a third person. Because you're talking about his. If I said your mother, masculine, what would it be? Singular. What letter? Ka. There you go. Imacha. Imacha. Okay. If it was a female, it would be still the same this and yours, but this right here, and it'd be imak. 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 Okay. If it was her mother, this would be a hey, and this would be a dot in it, and it'd be Emma, Emma, her mother. That belongs, it's her mother. Okay. So all these endings will, so all you got to do is just keep changing out the endings. You can add any ending you want to this, and it would tell you what it is. It's just another piece of the puzzle. Okay. Here it is. Her tongue. So what do we know? It's her tongue. It belongs to her. Her is the first person, second person, third person. What is that? Is it a first person? Meaning I or me or you, or us, common?
First
No.
person.
This right here is a third person. That's a third person because we're talking about her. See, in a conversation, when Kelly, when you and I are talking, it's me and you, right? So that'd be a yo for me and a ka for you. If I'm talking to you, every time I talk to you and I'm telling you something as a masculine singular, I'm gonna be addressing you in a ka. If I'm talking to Chandra, I'll be talking to her in a k. If I'm talking to a group of all of us together as both male and female, then it will be a ka, because you have to give preference to the male, okay? Because he's there, okay? If I'm talking about us as a group, right? Then I would say new. You see? I would say new. I'm talking to us, okay? Or, if I'm talking about we, I have to say it a certain way. If I'm talking about her, I'll have to say on the end of it. If I'm talking about his, third person, it'd be oh. So if I ask you what is his name, and me and you're talking about somebody else, because remember, Moshe said they're going to ask me what is his name, and he said Ma Shemo. What is his name? They were talking about they're going to ask a question about who is this God that you're talking about. So that's why it's Shemo. So when you and I are talking to each other, it's first person, second person. When you address me, you're the first person talking. When you talk to me, you could call me Ka too. You see? And when we're talking about anybody else, it'd be a male, it'd be O. If it's a female, then it's going to be Ah. It's going to be Ah. It's going to be Ah. You understand? So that's how we do it. So when we talk about the lashon, we know that's one of the vocabulary words. It's your tongue. So if it's her tongue, it's called what? Say lashon. So what would it be? Lashona. Yes. You see, so all they did is they put that hey underneath it, and they got that dot in it to let you know it's possessive. It's her tongue. That dot right here is not just telling you so can a tongue be a female tongue? A tongue is a tongue. You understand? But you got to put it, who owns the tongue? Whose tongue is it? It's her tongue. We're talking about somebody who's a third person, female, singular, her tongue. So it's called Lashon right here. But you notice that the noon is replaced from this final, because this is at the end. It's a final. So this is why it looks this way. And here it looks completely different than the regular noon. But they're still the same letter, still represents the same thing. So this right here lets us know with the dot in it and it's the right here that lets us know it is her, and it's also hers. This is hers. This is her tongue. So Lashona. What if I say to his tongue, what would I say? Put the piece on the end. It's his, what would it be? His is what?
Is it Lashon Ka?
Lashon, no.
Lashon, no.
Yeah, we'll change that out and go to a regular noon like here. And we'll just put an O right here. Lashono. That's his name, Lashono. That's his tongue, excuse me, Lashono. If it's hers, is Lashona. If it's his, is Lashono. The Lashono is a masculine, third person masculine singular. A Lashona is a third person female singular. So what we're doing is we're making sure we're putting the right endings when we're talking to somebody. Okay. If I say that regale is for your foot, I'm just putting it in English for us. Okay, regale is a foot. If I wanted to make it his foot, what would I say? His foot, third person, masculine singular. The wall right here. What does it mean? How would I put it right here? If I put an ending on this end for foot, what would it be? Regalo. It's regalo. Let's just stick with these for a minute. If I wanted to be her foot, what I would put? Regale what? Regala. Regala, and it would have this dot and it'll let you know that it's her foot. Okay, because guess what? A foot, it can be male or female. Okay. You understand? A tongue can be male or female. Okay. If I was to say our foot, regale nu. That's our foot. What if I'm talking to you, Kel, and I said, "Hey, I want to see your foot." What I would say? Regale what?
From my foot?
Yeah, I'm
Um,
talking to you.
Regale.
Regale ka. Okay. Regale ka. I'm talking about your foot. I'm talking to you. You're second person. See, the person who's talking to the other person is the first person. If I'm talking to you, you're the second person. If you're talking to me, you become the first person and I'm the second person. And if we're talking about somebody else, they'll be the third person. If we're addressing somebody that's not there, that's not in our presence, and they're just a third person to the conversation, then we'll have to address it that way. So this is what grammar is about. Grammar is about what? Gender, number, and person. Male or female. First person, second person, third person. Singular or plural. Okay. That's what all it's always going to be about, you guys. That's what all these endings and everything have to do with. They're just the pieces to the puzzle. Praise the Holy One of Israel. Any questions? Here it is. You're going to get it. There's a son again. That's our son. Our is new. So how do you say son? Our son.
Benenu.
There you go. Benenu. Yes. That's all. We're just not used to it. So you see the puzzle, all they're doing is just adding. Once you learn to add, and you got to read it several times, you're not going to get it in one setting. We always got to, you'll be familiar. You'll be looking at something, you'll read about, okay, well, the first two is Bane. I'm going to show you the methodology. You got to know what the root is. Then once you see the root and you recognize it, you'll recognize the endings. Because all it is, it's roots. That, and then you guys, the stuff that's added to the front of the root, or something that's going to add right here, or something that's going to be in the middle, or something that's going to be in the middle. Okay. But one of the things about the nouns are different. The nouns will tell you things that are only going to be literally on the end. Okay. The verbs tell you something that's on the front and the middle and the end. But the nouns, you're just stuff on the end. Is it your horse, your son, my mother, her mother, his mother? You understand hours? So it's really easy. It's just easy parts of the puzzle. Okay, so you'll get this. I'm gonna send this to you as well, and you review that. All right. Any questions? Pretty simple, right?
Yeah,
Nobody's saying
we
anything.
just gotta keep
Just gotta keep,
progressing.
yeah, just gotta keep looking at it. Okay. So here it is, you guys. This is an important part. There are two rules that we have to know with regard to adding on the noun endings, because there's rules in this language. And you guys are getting the rules. You got the rule about the endings. How, what do they look like? And with, what are they supposed to, but there's rules. These are rules that you have to follow. Okay. And once you learn the rule of something, you're fine. Okay. So before you can add a noun ending onto a noun, you got to put this noun in what they call a semicolon form. Okay. I don't want you to get kind of wrapped up in the word semicolon. I don't want you to get, I know what it is, right? And I know how to say it, but don't spend your time. When I first read the book, I was like, what is this? Right? I'm getting confused. I don't want you to think about this. All I want you to think about is the idea of the form. And the form means when something is written in a certain way, it's going to change. It's going to look, it's like, how you form a project or form something with some clay. They're saying when you add any kind of noun endings, there's some changes that have to be made depending on what kind of noun it is. Like, is it a male noun or is it a female noun? Is it masculine or is it singular? I mean, masculine or feminine. Is it plural or is it singular? So depending on what kind of noun it has, depends on what you can add to that noun, right? So what that means is that what we learned on page 11, which you have a copy of, is that the noun that ends in this female "a" right here, let me highlight it or bring it up. The noun that ends with a, okay? So say, like I told you, there's a female horse and she's a susa, okay? Do you remember I gave you that example? And it'll be on page 11. A sus, again, is our example. This is a regular male horse. If I want to make it female, I'm going to go susa, okay? I'm going to go susa, okay? Because that's what this is. That's the femininity. I just changed a male horse into a female horse by adding this vowel point and this letter. That's the piece of the puzzle that's added, okay? Once I've added that piece, now the horse becomes feminine. The horse now is female, okay? It doesn't say who owns it. It just tells you that it's a female horse, okay? The changes is going to happen is if that's the noun that we're dealing with, it's a susa, okay? It's a susa. It's a female horse. If I'm going to add that noun in a conversation, I'm going to change this letter on the end. That's the semicolon. The semicolon means to make a change. I'm going to change that letter to another letter. Now, they don't give us the explanation why, okay? They just tell you that this is the rule. And this is where things get a little confusing because you're like, well, I thought it was fine. I thought susa was fine, right? So I'll write it in. Let me see. Okay. Let's just move on. And it'll give us some examples. If the noun ends in an "in," okay, in, which is a plural for masculine, the mem is going to drop off and it's going to leave us with just a yod. With all other nouns, the letters don't change. So the rule has to do with an a and an im. It has to do with the female and it has to do with the male, masculine, plural. Okay, so this is female, singular, and it has to do with the masculine, plural. For whatever reason, don't know, but they just tell you that this is the rule, okay, and it's something we have to follow. Here are the examples. Say you have my wife, okay, so a wife by itself, before you make it my wife, wife is, oh, accidentally touched that, forgive me, guys. The word is isha. Isha. That's a wife. Isha. Wife in the semicolon form, meaning a form that I need to change it to, is going to be changed to esheth. So the vowels are going to change at the bottom. And this letter right here is going to be converted from a hey to a tav. The reason why they're doing this is because the semikuf means that you're putting two nouns next to each other. So let's just give two nouns. Good one, it would be the sons of Israel. Okay, here's the first noun, here's the second noun, and I'm going this direction for right now. Okay, in the Hebrew, when they write the sons of Israel, they don't use the word of. It's implied, and that's what the semikuf form is. It's telling you that when you got two nouns, Israel and sons, and the way that it's written is called, you guys know how you say it? If anybody knows, let me know. When they write it, they call it the I'm trying to write Hebrew, right? Yisrael. All right. So when they write it, they write B'nai Yisrael. This is the first noun. This is the second noun. Anytime you have two nouns next to each other, there is no word of, but you got to create of so you can have a translation so it makes sense. So when you hear B'nai Yisrael, it means sons of Israel. Okay, that's what it means. But if you notice, when you talk about son, son is what? Son is what we've been studying, is called Bane, right? That's how you write son, Bane. But you can't say Banin. You don't call it Banin. You call it B'nai. Because what you're going to do is, like they said, you're going to remove that min from the in to make it B'nai. And it'll be an example here. But all the semikuf form is when you have two nouns next to each other, you have to change the letters. If you go back to page 11, it goes over that. So the hey becomes a tav. And then you say, well, I want to make it my wife. So you got to add something else to the puzzle. So you got to add this because this means mine. That's the yod, and this little dot right here is correct. Correct yod, right? Correct yod is just basically that dot and the yod. This is what it looks like. It goes from Isha to Esheth to put those two together and you have Ishti. You see? So you're like, well, how did it go from this yod dot to this dot in the middle right here? How does this happen? And he's going to give us some explanation to this later down, okay? And this is where people get lost in the sauce and they get confused. Well, what do I want you to know right now? I want you to know that anytime they're telling you the rule, when you add my to a noun that's in a semikuf form, because this is not the original. The only reason why it turned to a tav is because it's going to be next to another noun. They're not showing you that right here, but that's what it is. The semikuf form you'll find on page 11 and chapter number 2. It's the lesson number 2. That's where you'll find it. Is that they will tell you the reason why. Okay, we don't have to go over that right now, but it's in lesson number 2. They tell you why their letters being changed from a hey to a tav. Well, once it's changed to the tav, it changes into the semikuf form. But if you want to make it mine, you add that yod and that dot right there, and it's called ishti, which means the same identical thing as my wife. So what the rule is that there has to be changes when you want to add letters. And that's the thing that confuses everybody because it's a big, huge puzzle. But let's remember what this note right here is, okay? This little footnote right here on number 1. And let's just scroll down to it right quick so we don't get lost. We are not going to discuss this at this point, why the vowels change when we add the noun endings. We're not going to discuss it. You know why? Because it has a method to the teaching. That's why a lot of times I won't tell you guys something because I don't want to get you confused. Okay, so they're not going to tell us why right now. Okay, but if you want to know about the semikuf change, go to lesson number 2, page number 11. Okay, let's look at our example of our sons. Okay, so as I stated, the sons of Israel, when you talk about sons, that's masculine plural. Here's the Bane, which is my son, the Bet and the Noon. That's my son. That's your son. Okay. Then if it has sons, this is the son ending, the Eem, the Yod and the Mem. That's telling us that it's plural. So that's where you get sons. So Bane is the son, the Eem is the sons. Okay. But remember, the rule is I got to drop off the Mem when I put this into what they call the semicolon, when I'm changing the form because I got two nouns next to each other. So this is the reason why it's not called Banim Yisrael. This is why it's called B'nai Yisrael, because B'nai is in a semicolon form. It's in that form to let us know that there's two nouns that are side by side with nothing in between them. So because there's two nouns, I have to put the word. I have to put the semicolon so it can make sense for the horses of David, the house of Kel, the table of such and such, the land of Israel. Okay, so when you got the land of Israel, those are two nouns. So they'll change if there's no ah on the end of the word like this, and there's no em, then they won't change the noun. But if I'm talking about sons, if I'm talking about plurality with a masculine plurality, then it has to be changed. This rule about dropping this letter off only applies to words that end in "em." It only applies to words that end in "ah" on the end of the noun. Remember, that's the two rules. These are the two things that you got to watch out for. So when you see something that's supposed to have an "ah" on the end and it's been changed to a "taf," then you know, oh, that it been changed in the semicolon form. That's why I go to the Bible Hub, because it'll tell you something that's been changed in a semicolon form. Banim, they're going to write son. They're not going to write Banim of Israel. Nowhere in the Torah you ever see Banim Israel. What you're going to see is B'nai Yisrael. B'nai Yisrael. Okay. Now I'm going to add our sons, and here's the end, new. So how do you put it? You put the B'nai new. So here it is, B'nai new, B'nai new. But it had to go through the changing of this form to add that letter to give you this result. All it is a puzzle. But once you know the pieces of the puzzle, you put it together. What's the purpose today? To just let you know what the rule is. So when you see it, you're like, well, why isn't it not saying sons with an "em"? Because isn't that sons? Yes, this is sons. But if it's next to a noun and it says over here, the next word is Yisrael, if there's a yod and the shin and then the resh and then the aleph and the lamed, then they have to change this. And it has to say B'nai Yisrael, because this here is a noun. That's the rule. Anytime you got two nouns, because you wanted to say the sons of something or the horses of, that's all it is, okay? So therefore, our sons is going to be B'nai Nu. B'nai Nu. Okay? So the "em," the yod and the mem, the masculine plural ending that we have becomes these two dots in the yod. And you'll see that in a lot of the writings. You'll see this. You'll be like, oh, I see that. That tells me that it's in a what? It's in a semicolon form. It's a different form. And what they've done is they removed this and they just left the two dots and the yod. Okay? It's just a rule. That's what it is. And you'll get the paper, you'll review it, you'll be able to put your eyes on it. I'm just trying to give you some type of explanation. All right, so your horse. It's female plural. The horse is not female, the horse is masculine. If the horse was supposed to be female, what would I do? How would I make it a female horse? What would I add?
The hay.
Yep. Ah, right here. Susa. Okay. If I want to make the horse female, I'll just put a dot right here and it'll be ah. Now that makes it a female horse. We're not talking about a female horse, we're just a regular horse. If I wanted to say it was her horse, what would I do?
Put a dot in the middle of the hay.
Thank you. So now it's her horse. Okay. Period. Now, the reason why they're giving us this example about this in particular horse is because a horse is called a soos, and a soos doesn't have a hay on it, does it?
No.
Does it have an eam on it? No. So it doesn't say horses for masculine, and it doesn't say soth for female horses. So because it doesn't have any endings on it, what it's telling us, this noun right here doesn't have an ending. There's no change. You're not supposed to change it. All you got to do is just put your ending on it, which would be sus ken. The reason why it's ken is because it is female, because this means your, and then the noon right here on the end is female. If it was a masculine, say it was a mem, would it be? Remember, the mem represents
Male.
male. The noon represents the female. So it has a final noon on the end that tells you that it's female. So what I'm trying to get you to understand is I want you to just focus on looking at those letters and those endings to tell you who you're talking to. Whose is it? Okay. Somebody just take a big sigh.
I'm sorry, I thought I was on mute.
Oh, my poor baby. Listen. Kane. Seuss Kane. Sousa Kane, excuse me. Sousa Kane. Okay. If I say Sousa Kim, that's masculine. If I say Suso, what did I just say? Suso. Oh, 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 oh.
Is that his horse?
That's right. It's his horse. And so that's something you're going to memorize. So everything, don't worry, you're going to memorize these things. I say Susa, then you know it's her horse. If I say Susa can, it's okay, yours. So those are the examples. So there's no change. What we're talking about is the rule. There won't change any form. There is no change in this because it doesn't have the yod and the mem on the end, and it does not have the hey and the ah. It doesn't have that. So you don't have to make any changes. And I'll send this to you as well, and you'll see it. It's just a puzzle. Don't get discouraged, okay? And so I think that's enough for your brain today. All right. That is enough for your brain. Yeah, it is. It's enough. Because then look, next time we talk, in lesson number 4, we're going to go over the plural endings. So the one I gave you first was the singular endings. Now I'm going to give you the plurals. Okay. But I don't want to overwhelm you. Okay. So as you can see, if you know the puzzles, then you'll know exactly what they're talking about. So I'm going to send you the first couple of pages that we went over today. Okay. So these are the singular endings. My, your female, his, her, our, your, you see? So it's like, what am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to study this? Am I supposed to just study this from just this pages that you sent to me, or how do I apply it? I'm going to show you the secret that David has done for years. And this is what makes you sharp. So what I want to show you right quick is, let me see. Oh, here it is. Okay. But he's not talking to anybody in this chapter. All right, let's go to Exodus chapter 9. Okay, go to Exodus chapter 1 in the Bible Hub, right? Okay. Oh, he doesn't really give that. He just gives a lot of instruction. No, they had a lot of problems. Okay. You can find anywhere you want to in the scriptures. I'm just choosing 19. Okay. I just choose 19 because this is the time when the creator gave a marriage contract to Israel. Okay. And he begins to tell them what he wants them to do and so forth and so on. Let me go over to the part where he starts talking. because those are not the nouns. All right, mountain. Okay, saying, let's say, we shall say, to lave to Yaakov. Okay. Yeah, lave. Okay, Yaakov and Hagid. Oh, here you go. All right, here's a perfect example. Genesis chapter number 19, I mean Exodus, excuse me, Exodus chapter number 19, verse number 3. Here's this word name, okay? And preposition meaning 2 or 4 as a shepherd staff. Then he says what? So that's the staff that's in his hand. So I need you to go to them, okay? And I need you to tell them something, okay? This is what I want you to do. Hagid. I need you to tell the sons of Israel. So listen, the sons, you see here, that's Vinay, the 2 dots in the yod, right? But remember, sons could be with the mem. So this is an example of a semiku form. Yah has decided to listen, when you write this out, I need you to write it out where I'm telling they're called livne or b'nai. That's just a preposition. It's b'nai Israel. 2 nouns. Okay. And it's masculine, plural, common. Okay. And here's the proper noun of his name. So b'nai. And that's the reason why they put this in here of, because who did the sons belong to? They belong to Israel. That's why they're called b'nai and not banim. They're dropped the mem off. Technically, there's supposed to be a mem right here. You're supposed to be to make it masculine, plural, like that. Okay. But because it's in a semi-ku form, they're letting you know they got to drop the mem. So it's called b'nai. Just forget about this for right now. B'nai Yisrael, the sons of Israel. Okay. That's an example of a semi-ku. So anytime you see these 2 dots in a yod on the end of any word, you know that it's plural. You know that it's of. You know that it went into a semi-ku form. You know this right here is a rule about noun endings. Okay, because this right here is a noun. So you got to know those rules. So that's an example. Then he says this, you, atem. Well, isn't this interesting? So you look at the word you right there, you would think, okay, you means, could it be a second person? Could it be a first person? What is it? It's a second person masculine plural. But I thought you were talking about you. We've been knowing you just to be you, like me and you. You can be a group of people. That's why it's plural. So he says atem. Now tell me, what part of this word right here is masculine? What makes you think it's masculine? What letter in here tells you that it's masculine?
The mem at the end.
Yes, it's the final mem. That's what lets you know. Okay. Now, does that include the females? Because he's talking to the sons of Israel. So Kent asked
Yes,
today.
it includes them all.
Yes, it does. Absolutely. If there's one male in a group and he's addressing the whole entire group, he has to address it as the males, the sons of Israel. Okay. So the daughters are just as well as the sons. They're part of Yah's family. That's it. They're not less than. You understand? So when he talks about Atem, you talk to them, the sons of Israel. A lot of people, he think he's only giving the commandments to the sons of Israel, not the daughters. He's giving it to everybody, you, the sons of Israel. Okay. So the Atem right there is letting you know that it's masculine plural. And as I told you, that in the verbs, okay, or this is a proper noun, you, he's saying atem. The real word here, if we look at it and we push the 859, it's going to give you a word called ata. That's what it's going to give you, a word called ata. Aha. There you go. Ata. See that? Well, that's confusing because don't you have the a on the end that you've been saying that once you add that, it does that? Well, this is a pronoun in a singular masculine form, okay? When you change, to say a woman and a ta for a first person common, right? Then you would say instead of saying ata, instead of ata like this, hopefully I'm not off. I think hers is not ata, hers is at. Yeah, hers is at. It's not ata. It's just at. Let me see if I'm correct. Yeah, she's different. She's not. There's a ta, so that would be close here. Let's see if it's at. Let me see if I can find a feminine. That's a thon. Nope, that's not it. Go the other direction. That's a donkey. The athon, ata. Ata, to come. Nope. I gotta get that off of there. That's a tha. Nope. I would have to find it, but it's not. It's definitely not. It's not a ta. A ta is masculine, right? So I think the female is just at, if I'm not mistaken. I have to find something to show you, but hers is different. But this is masculine singular, you yourself, right? But they put that eem on there. That's what gave us plurality, is this. That's what the plurality is because it's found on the end of the word, because a ta was the word. So what they did is they got rid of this and they put the atem, they put that whatchamacallit, they put the plural ending on it. So as you can see, you can take a regular word like a ta. Yeah, it is odd for a woman. When you put the ata on the end or a atem, say it's all women. What would it be here? Instead of this men, what would be here? The next letter after the mem is what? It'd be a 10 if he's talking to another group of women. Okay, and there's all women. It'd be a 10. Okay, so you can see there's another piece of the puzzle. He says, look, remember I told you that in the verbs, they put the tav on a verb, and when you got a noun, they put a kim on the end. Okay, so here it is, a 10. So ra'ithin, you have seen. Okay, and the you there is this. Second person, plural, masculine. Okay, that's for a verb. So your nouns are going to have coughs, the regular cough and the final cough, depending on the position. And your verbs are going to have tavs. And it'd be, you know, a tav and a mem. It could be a tav and a noon. It could be just a regular tav and a yod. Okay, you understand? So that's the difference between the two. So when you see a cough on the end of a word, you know it's a noun. When you see a tim on the end, you know that it's a verb. That's another indicator. Okay, this right here again is masculine. It tells you he's masculine. You could be able to tell that right there. Okay, here's another verb. Here's the T again. Here's the T again for verbs. Okay, Tila Misraim. If I was going to change, if there was a noun next to Misraim, according to the Semiku form, what letter on this word would I drop off? If I was to change this and had another, like Misraim, the land of such and such, what would I have to do on this letter, on this word? What letter would I have to drop off?
The M.
Thank you. And then I would have to the 2 dots. And there you know, it would still be talking about Misraim. Perfect. I'm glad you saw that. Okay. Here's another word. We're just going through words. I don't want to give you context. I'm just showing you something. This is direct object marker, which is these 2 letters right here, the aleph and the tav. That's your arrow. That's the one that's pointing to things to let you know the definite direct object marker. I'm pointing you to where my verb is going. My action is going towards you. When I talk about what I just did, I'm telling it, I'm pointing to who it was that I did it to. So here it again. We got Kim. Is Kim a noun or is it a verb? I mean, yeah, what is it? What ending does that go on?
It's a noun.
It's a noun. And because it's a cough and it's a mem, it lets me know that it's a noun. Okay. What else is it going to tell me? What's the last letter going to tell me? It's masculine. That's masculine. Okay. Let me ask you a question. If it was just these letters weren't here and I had a call like here, I'll be talking directly to a first person, second person, and third person.
I'll guess and say first person.
Second person. Because the second person is always going to be you in the conversation. And that you can either be, it can be singular or it can be plural, like we got right here. See, so they got you right here. And when people read this, they think you might be talking to one individual. So this is a compound word. The ka right there is masculine. If I got rid of this and I put a, because it's still you, it's just a different form, and I put two dots right here. Am I talking to a masculine or a feminine?
Feminine.
I'm talking to feminine. If I got rid of these two things right here and I got a cough again and it's right here, what am I talking, masculine, feminine?
Masculine.
It's masculine. If I get rid of all this right here and I put a dot, a wall right here with a dot over it, who I'm talking to?
Masculine.
Masculine, and it's him, third person masculine singular. Just a puzzle. Get rid of this right here and I put a ah right there. Who am I talking to?
Feminine.
Yeah, I'm talking to feminine. See? So what I'm saying to you, and so this is a compound. That's why they have this line right here to separate the direct object marker, which is this right here, these two letters, and it lets you know the second person masculine plural. So anytime you see a cough, it means you. If it's on the end, it's masculine. If it's on the end, and that's not the final cough, then it's talking about what? Plural. If I got Banim Israel, I'm talking about plural. But if it's in a semicolon form, I take away the mem, and it's still the plural. So you got to know your plurals. Okay. Here's another one. Right here. Here's wings of an eagle. Okay. Perfect example. Perfect example of a semicolon form. This is the rule that we're talking about. So just off of this alone, by seeing this and seeing these two dots in the yod, what letter is missing? What letter used to be right here in this box that you got to take off? I'll give you an option. Is it a mem or is it a noon?
Men.
It's a mem. Okay. You understand? Okay. It's kanaf or confe. Okay. So it's confe. And here it is. They didn't take it off of here. Why? Because it's not the first noun. It's the second. It's the second noun. When you have a second noun with it, you don't have to take this off. When it's the first noun, they take it off. That's just a rule, because it's the wings of an eagle, not just eagle's wings. It's the wings of an eagle in order for it to make sense. Okay. So you're going to see eam here, masculine plural. Okay. Well, you said, well, here it is, a noun with the female plural common. So what happened? Well, let's look. It's a puzzle. It's a whole bunch of rules, but it causes you to search and look it out. Okay. So here. Oh, look at that. Kanaf. Why is it feminine? Because the wing is considered a feminine noun. It's considered a feminine noun. So you're going to have words that look like it's supposed to go. Yah just changes the masculine and feminine. Why is he using wings to be feminine versus masculine? Well, in certain instances, the Holy One of Israel uses a femininity when it comes to action, what she can do, right? So the reason why the earth is feminine and it's not masculine, even though the man is taken out of the earth, is because the woman and the feminine energy has the ability to bring forth and to create action, to be able to do certain things. She has that ability, okay? And so Again, look at here. Here's a preposition. Where's it at? Oh. When we studied our prepositions, it tells you L means two. Aleph and a lamed, that means two. Then you got the yod, and here it means myself. But I thought you said it mean my. Well, look, when you look at the vowel, which we're gonna learn, they have a different vowel point underneath it. It's different. So you're gonna have my, you're gonna have myself, you're gonna have me, you're gonna have all these different ways. And what it's gonna be similar is each one of them will have a yod, but each one on the end will have a yod, but some of those dots might be like this, some might be like that, and some might be like that. You understand? So there's different little vowel points and different sounds that it tell you if it's my or me or myself. Okay. So that's what it is. Okay. Here it is when Yah says about his voice. This is voice. And all he did was add my. There's the dot and the yod that tells you my. Okay, because voice is called. Okay, so we got called preposition right here. So now not telling us the full that you would obey the bet, and then voice is called. So why aren't they expressing what bet means here? Indeed, that you would listen and obey, not just my voice, but where is the bet there? Well, the bet is a tent, and the tent means to dwell. And you know, to dwell, you can go in it. Okay. It goes with it. Okay. On it. That's what the bet is used for. So again, in this English translation, it just says my voice. But Yah didn't just say my voice. If you break this word down right quick, just like they did on the bottom here, they got these little lines right here that tell you that they're separating the noun from the preposition and its person. First person common singular, noun masculine singular common, preposition, bet. So we know that the bet has a meaning. Okay. Then we know what the noun is, and then we know who's the one doing the talking, which is my. And that has to do with the Holy One of Israel. And we know that this right here is Kol, his voice. So why didn't they tell us what this bet right here means? That means in. Listen. In my voice. Listen. My voice. That means literally, if you got a bed in front of it, it's talking about a tent. And it means to dwell. So where did Yah dwell when he dwelt with the children of Israel? He dealt in a tent of meeting. And when he sent one man to this tent of meeting, that man was Moshe. And Moshe came out and he told them what Yahweh said. You see? And so if we understand that, and we stop just taking the English translations, we can really find out what Yahweh is saying to us. So that's in closing. The way atah im adashamoah the tishma'u. What does the word shema mean?
To hear or to
Hear,
listen.
listen, and obey. So that's right there. So we got that. Hear and obey. So anytime you see a word, look for the root. That tav right there means you. The u right here lets you know that it's plural. So he's talking to a group. He says, if indeed you listen in the Shemoah, okay, Shemoah, okay, and it's using the same way. So Tishmeru and Shemoah are the same thing. 80, 85. Here's the shin, here's the mem, here's the ayin. Here's the shin, here's the mem, here's the ayin. They just put this yod right here to throw you off a little bit, so you don't even know what that means. You would think tishma'u and the shamor are different, and they're not. They're exactly the same. He's really saying, listen to what I'm saying. If you are listening to what and obeying exactly what I'm saying, infinitive absolute, meaning always be listening. That's what this O right here means. It means it's called a participle. It means in a present tense. So you got to always presently be listening, and indeed listening, listen to in my voice. Okay. And with my voice and on my voice, as if you're in a attentive meeting. Because I'm telling you what it is. And if you would dwell, because that's what a bet is, dwell in what? Dwell on my words, on my voice, and what I said. If you do what I'm telling you and you're listening to what I'm saying to you, then of course you will what? And Usha Martin, we'll go here and chop it up. Shamar. The U is and, the Shamar is guard, and Tim means you. Plural, masculine, plural, even though females are there. The labarithi, barith, okay? You got the E on the end, that's mine. The barith is right here, B-R, yod, that, barith, ye, barithi, my covenant. The F is direct object marker, arrow pointing directly. What are you supposed to guard? Because that's what Shamar is to guard. What are you guarding? I'm going to guard Eth, the Barithi. Then what? So you got to obey it and listen to it always continually. And then you always got to guard it, right? Forever. Then you what? The Wahayathim. So you will, Wiyathim. You will exist and you will always be to me. Here it is, showing you the code. 2 is right here, the lamed, and me is the dot and the yod. So you can see that the dot and the yod is used on a lot of different prepositions. It be used on nouns. You'll be a segula to me. You'll be a treasure. And here it's feminine because you're special to me. So ladies, you should feel really good about a segula. You should be treated as if you're a treasure. That's why you guys love jewelry. Okay, and Mikol from what? The Mikol Hamayim, from all the people. Right? I'm not just on some people, I'm giving the ha. One of your words today you learned was There it is. And it's in the plural. Here's the im, plurality, right there. What's the word? Right here. That's the people. So is it just people or it is peoples? It's peoples, plural. See? So they just tell you of all the people. They didn't put the peoples, they put people. Why? Because they want you to think that it's only one group. It's the definite article, the peoples. What peoples? From all the peoples on the face of the earth. You understand? You're not some regular person. You are a segula. You are a special treasure to me. Okay? For ki. They imply the is because they have to in order for it to make sense to us. 2, preposition, me, all the earth. And not only 2, but for me is all the earth. It's not only to me, it's for me. All the earth. Feminine singular. All of it. Why call? Because it's in the palm of my hand, because that's a palm, and this is a shepherd's staff. It's in my hand for me to teach it. And for people to learn from me and for them to be tamed. I tame everything, including all the peoples. And you're the people that I chose to me and for me. You understand? If you're going to be that to me, that's what you're going to be to me out of all the peoples from the earth. Still talking to them. You're going to be to me and for me. Not just to me, but for me. to me. There's a dot and a yod. That's me. Top right here. Preposition down here. Le. First person common singular. What? A mamlaketh. You're going to be a kingdom of Kohanim. You're going to be a mamlaketh. Okay? That's what you're going to be. You're going to be a mamlaketh. Well, Dawid, I thought you said that you got two nouns next to each other. So here's another example of a simikut. You got a noun here. I don't like this color. You got a noun here. And you got a noun him. They're side by side. So this is mamlaketh. And this is kohanim. So this is the first noun that's mentioned. So it has to go into the simikuth form. So what letter, just take a guess, what letter was this tav before it was a tav? If I had to change it to this form. From our lesson, it told you it was the letter hey. And let's check and verify and see if that's true. So 4467 tells you what? It tells you, there you go, mamlaka. It's a feminine noun, mamlaka. Mamlaka, okay? Mamleka. We can break this down very strongly, but I don't want to take too much more of your time up. Okay, it comes from the word melek, meaning to what? To govern, to walk. Okay, so the kingdom that Yah is talking about is a mamlaka, but they don't have mamlaka here. They got mamlaketh. The reason why it's mamlaketh because the rule says that it used to be a hey, but once I got two nouns next to each other, I got to change that hey to a tav. And that's for pronunciation reason. Mamlaketh. Mamlaketh a kohanim. It's not going to be mamlaka kohanim. It's going to be mamlaketh. Okay. That's just the rules. So when I saw this, I was like, oh, they changed it because I know the grammatical rule. It's not mamlaketh. So if you just wanted to say kingdom by itself, you wouldn't say mamlaketh. You would say mam laka. Mamlaka. That's what you would say. But you got to know the root in order to know what happened. See? Kohanim. This is plurality. Priest, the eem right here is let you know. So can a woman be a priest? In Yah's temple. Good question, huh? Huh? Who's he talking to? He's talking to the nation of Israel. Okay? That's who you're going to be. You're going to be a kingdom of priests to me. That was the goal to me, all of you. Not just the mothers and the fathers and everybody. That's, he says to me, a nation. That's the goal. He's not just talking to the males, he's talking to everybody. Because when he said address this to all the peoples. And if you're going to be that, if you're going to be a segula of all the peoples to me, the whole earth, and you shall be to me a kingdom of priests. And also, too, you're going to be a nation. A wagoi of a kadosh. The ele, the hadavarami asher de tedaber de ele de bnei Yisrael, which you know that the bnei of Israel consist of both the male and the female. The kingdom, both male and female. You understand? The goi, the nation, both male and female. That's Yah's intention for us. That's why you got to know this language. Because once you learn this language, you'll be fine. Any questions? Thank you guys for your participation today. Don't get discouraged. It's a long process, but it's just a puzzle. That's all it is. It's a
How
puzzle.
many more lessons are there?
20 in one book. There's over. You probably got like around about. I got about 18 more lessons in this noun book, and then I got another 20 lessons in the other one.
Okay, that's sounds like we got a lot of more weeks to go.
Huh? What'd you say, Condra? Yeah. Yeah, you're gonna be with me for a long time.
You said yes.
I can't hear you. What?
Yeah, but is it gonna be rules that we have to learn? I don't know.
Oh, yeah. You got more, yeah, it's more rules.
Is
It's
it gonna be? Oh, okay.
Yeah, hey, it's not as bad as me.
I'm good.
Yeah, you're looking forward to it. I know. You guys are gonna be fine. Don't worry about it, okay? Don't let this intimidate you. Don't sound like Moshe. I can't do it. Y'all says you gotta do it, okay? You got to do it. I don't have the mouth. I don't have the understanding. He says you got to do it. All right. So praise be to the Holy One of Israel, you guys. I kept you long enough. I went a little bit over the time, but I'm gonna send a lesson to you guys, okay?
Thanks, David.
All right, you guys have any other questions before I go?
Thank you.
You're welcome.